Well, the Mortal Kombat 11 servers are down at the moment, so this is a perfect time to talk about MK12 and Ed Boon's announcement on Twitter. Before I get into this, if you prefer shorter form content and you don't like longer videos, feel free to check out my clips channel. It's actually original stuff, usually combos, brutals, stuff like that don't really fit into a long form video but are great in short form. It'll be the top comment under this video, so be sure to go check it out. I have a lot of stuff on there that you'd probably really like to see. So yes, no MK12 announcement at this year's Game Awards. I'm actually really disappointed. If you haven't already seen Ed Boon's tweet, I'll put it on the screen right now. It basically confirms that we expect no Mortal Kombat 12 announcement at this year's Game Awards, which I want to say are December 8th, so sometime later this week, like Thursday. Some people are banking on the fact that he could be trolling. Some people are banking on the fact that we're getting like a trilogy game that combines MK9, MKX, and MK11, but that's really all up in the air. I'm gonna look at this as in there's gonna be no MK12 coming at the Game Awards and treat it like that. That way I don't get my hopes up and I can continue doing content the way I always have. And, you know, actually focusing more on learning new things in MK11. My initial reaction to the news was kind of interesting. I didn't expect him to tweet it. I honestly thought the Game Awards would just roll on by, and if there was no announcement, there was no announcement. But I am kind of glad to see some transparency from the NRS team. I put up a tweet about it that is probably the most confusing part about the whole thing, and that is what happened to the NRS release cycle. To me, it speaks two things. It either speaks that they're making an entirely new type of game, which would be quite interesting, and I'm not sure if I'd really prefer that, or they are, you know, releasing MK12 or Injustice 3 on the Unreal 5 engine, so it's taking a lot more time to develop. If you aren't familiar with how NRS releases their games, like before MK11, they were on a 2-year release cycle. So in 2011, we got MK9, in 2013, we got Injustice, in 2015, we got MKX, in 2017, we got Injustice 2, and then in 2019, we got Mortal Kombat 11. It has now been 4 years since MK11 was announced at the Game Awards, meaning that there probably won't be a spring release, putting the release cycle more than 4 years since the previous NRS game. Now, we could put that on lockdowns and other things like that, but I do have just some points to give on that why I don't think that makes much sense, and they are definitely developing something. To start, when they stopped support for MK11, and that was in spring of 2021, they did say they were already focusing on their next project. But another big point that I feel like not a lot of people are talking about is clearly NRS does have a game in development somewhere. Dragon FGC, one of the most, you know, prolific tournament players in the NRS scene, he's a QA analyst, or he's a quality analysis tester at NetherRealm. He tweeted that he got this position in spring of this year, so it's been about 6 months or so. And what are you QA testing if the game isn't actually decently, you know, far along? I'm not a game developer, and I don't claim to be, but it does seem like you bring a team like that in finally once you need them to playtest a product you have on hand. Now, they could just be using them to help out with frame data, moves like that, and, you know, the game isn't fully, you know, designed yet, but I don't know if that makes sense either. There was a tweet by one of the developers of Mortal Kombat that basically stated they do the animations before they put in the frame data. So bringing people like Dragon on, who probably aren't familiar with doing animations for the game, but would be very familiar with how frame data works, just doesn't make a lot of sense if they, you know, don't have a product already there for them to test. So yeah, I don't want to do any other speculating than that. I don't think Dragon would have even told the other pros that it was being released or announced at this certain time, because I'm assuming he knows. Like, he's got to know the general plan going forward, but I don't think he's just telling other pros and those pros are withholding it from the rest of the community. If he is, I mean, that kind of sucks, but I just don't think that's happening. I think you take a job like that and you're not gonna, you know, blow it by whistleblowing the whole thing. So where does that leave us for the next year of content? I really want to expand what I do on MK11, and it's giving me a good time to search more creatively and giving me time to perfect my content before the new release. So while we're here, let's take this roster, and I'm just gonna spit out some spitball changes of characters or ideas that I would want in Mortal Kombat 12. And if you can't tell, my cat just jumped up on my lap. So what are some ideas I have for MK12? And let's talk about some characters I'd like to see return, because now we have more time that, I don't know, just putting my ideas out there maybe have an impact, who knows. In terms of characters I don't think that should return, I think Nightwolf probably should not return. I want to say one of these 4 should not return. They can take their pick. I'm not even going to speak on the guest characters because that doesn't really matter. They're probably not going to return anyways. Out of these characters right here, Baraka is a jobber. He doesn't need to return. Jackie, don't let her return. That is only because you left her so good for so long. I have the same exact opinion with Cetrion, so both of them, don't bring them back. Let's say next, based on where the MK11 story left off, we're definitely going to have Kung Lao. I think he's going to be like the main hero of some sort in the next game, so I think Kung Lao will come back. But out of these characters, maybe don't bring Kano back and maybe not Cabal back. Definitely not Jade back. I get it, she's probably going to get a second installment because she wasn't in MKX, but I don't know. I don't think we need Jade. I also think it's time for Devora not to come back. I think this next cycle, we don't need her. She was good in MKX. She was fun to play in MK11. I think it's time to skip her and instead keep Scarlet. Aaron Black I'm indifferent about. He's kind of like Devora where he's gotten to be in a couple titles in a row. I'm saying it's whatever the developers want, but if he didn't come back, it wouldn't really hurt me very much. I say we keep Kotal Khan, but I don't know. Mid command grabs are hard for me to say. Don't bring Shiva back. We had too much stomp meta, but Kotal can maybe come back. I'm not entirely sure. I think for these down here, we bring Melina back. We don't bring Sindel back. Sindel's cool and all, but just don't bring her back. Gearus can come back. Gearus, I think, had a really cool design in this game. Collector, don't come back. And yeah, that's about the most I have opinions on. Bring Fujin and Rain back, but bring them in as starting cast members, not DLC. Some things that I prefer that they bring back in Mortal Kombat 12 is I prefer dash blocking instead of running. I know some people really like the run mechanic in MKX. I'm not really a huge fan of it, so, you know, that's really their call, but I think dash blocking just creates a lot more, I don't know, the whole game doesn't feel like offense. It's a lot of neutral game, you have defensive options, you have offensive options, so dash blocking I think should stay. Next, every character in MK12, this one I am taking from MKX, should have a neutral jump punch. So if you haven't played MKX, Scorpion is the only character in this game with a neutral jump punch, which basically everyone had in MKX, which was a free launcher, so you would jump straight up in the air and launch the opponent just like that. And did my forward 4 just go through him, or my stand 4? So yes, every character needs an NJP. It's just a really nice combo extender all around. I mean, you get to see it right here. That was the ugliest combo ever. But yeah, you could do it the same way you do it with Scorpion and MK11, where you would go, you know, into a special move, neutral jump punch, and continue your combo. It worked the exact same way it works for Scorpion in this game. I really like in MK11 that they have comboable interactables. I don't know if in MKX they had comboable interactables. I know they had interactables that you could use at the end, like as a combo ender, but I don't know if they had mid-combo interactables, which I think need to come back for Mortal 12. These right here are absolutely amazing. It's part of one of my favorite parts of this game. Like, look at this combo. That's ridiculous. Like, so cool. I am cool if KBs stay for MK12. I actually think they're a great mechanic. The thing is, they just need a little more work. I think early characters, like characters they developed early on, their KBs are actually not very good or really, really good. So you have characters like Sub-Zero and Liu Kang, where I think they thought those characters didn't have cool combos. Maybe because it just didn't get tested all the way through. This was before customs. But I think they really thought, oh, we need to give those characters high damaging KBs that they can kind of load up on throughout the match. And that's where they'll get their end of match damage in the third round. That's not really how it turned out. Meanwhile, Scorpion has a bunch of combo KBs, but they don't do much for him. They don't give him hardly any damage. So I think over time that became incredibly unfair and just didn't work out as intended with the later stages of MK11. Also, take away throw KBs. I'm fine with down 2 KB. It adds a lot of hype because it is a combo. You still have to convert. There's still breakaway or breaker, but get rid of throw KBs. That, or if you're going to make throw KBs come back, teching a throw should be one button. Whether it's forwards, backwards, you can tech with one button. Give every character a throw KB, but it's tech with one button. That's it. I don't think there needs to be like a guess upon a guess for 30% of your life bar. You know, like that just seems a little ridiculous because you guessed the first time wrong. Now you're guessing again for 30% of your life. I think one thing that MK12 doesn't actually need to work on too much is I think at the beginning of MK11, people thought there were no combos, which I don't think in the grand scheme of things is really true. I think combos are locked behind KBs and other stuff sometimes, but I think the combos in this game are pretty good. I would add more combo routes. I don't think you need more damage, but Melina is the greatest example of a character who lost all their combo routes from MKX. So combo routes need to be, I don't know, tested more thoroughly. You should have like 3 or 4. They don't need to do super high damage, but there should be some style added back that MKX had. Now, a super contentious topic in MK11 is Breakaway good for the game? And I'm gonna go with no. And I also think I'm a little biased. Breakaway would have been fine once they added armor breakers if every character had a guaranteed armor breaking setup or their main launch had a guaranteed armor break, so it actually became a mind game. Not that I think this game needs any more mind games and guesses, but it would have been a way more respected mechanic if armor breakers were all combo extenders and you could guarantee it after every character's main launch, making Breakaway way less strong than it was in this game. This armor breaker for Scorpion is not guaranteed right there. He cannot land this back 3 without them late breaking just like that. I mean, it's cool when you land it. Look at this. I mean, he broke. I got 45% and he now has no defensive meter. It is so cool. Breakaway would have been so much less annoying, but it's not guaranteed. It literally can't be. If you're playing a good player, Scorpion will never land the armor breaker because he has no move that guarantees it. So if I go for a teleport right here, I can't do it. Same with the down 2 KB. Same with, I want to say Air Synblade. Yeah, same with Air Synblade. You cannot guarantee it in any way, making it virtually pointless at a high level, so Breakaway just trumps everything. So for that reason, I think Combo Breaker was better. But Breakaway, if they decide to bring it back instead, just like in this game, or Air Escape, whatever you want to call it, if every character's main launch has a guaranteed armor breaker chance, I think it's fine, and I think it would be really fun. You know, just get some extra combo damage. It's high risk, high reward. Maybe do that, and then bring back an Injustice type clash system for the final round. I don't really know how you do it, but if you're keeping Breakaway, make armor breakers guaranteed for every character, so you can't just break away on everyone, because any Cassie player, Melina player, Scorpion player knows that if, you know, you're playing a slow-paced match, especially with Cassie and Melina where it's hard to open people up, you might never get your combo because every single time you finally open them up, they just break away and you get no damage. Next one is Fatal Blow. What do I think about Fatal Blows? And I'm gonna be honest, I don't mind Fatal Blows. I think at the end of the day, we can all say we want this game to be as competitive as possible, but there needs to be an attraction to a large audience. Otherwise, nobody's gonna care to watch our events, you know? We need casual viewers who love those mechanics. I do think, though, it could go either way. Either all Fatals are incredibly punishable. No matter what, you get a turn. It's the most punishable move in the game for every single character. Or you can only use them once per match. If you whiff or if you hit, it's once per match. So if you waste it, that's on you. You're not getting it back. Either way works for me. That or take away the armor. Just one of those options. I think they can stay in the game as they are. It's just, or not as they are. I think they can stay in the game, but with those little tweaks, yeah, it's cool. I like it. Variation system. Should it come back? Custom variations. I would say there are certain characters that make the variation system look amazing. I could see why they did it. You know, there's some characters that really get to like have a good loadout no matter what they pick. But other characters like Scorpion are pigeonholed into like 2 moves and that's it. I think it becomes very pointless. I don't like move restrictions. I don't like the fact to get the like 2-1, 2+4 ender, I have to have on the death spin. That makes no sense to me because there are DLC characters that came 2 years down the line that have much better moves than just getting the 2-1, 2+4 by itself with teleport cancel. That would be such a great loadout. And I'd still have to give up Air Synblade. So I don't know. It was not fully fleshed out. It definitely wasn't. So if they bring it back, that could be why they're taking 4 years. If they bring back variation system, it needs a lot of work. And they also have to go back to old characters when DLC characters are released and update them. One more thing on MK12 that's along similar lines of DLC characters can't all of a sudden become better because they had more knowledge. Movement in this game, DLC characters have infinitely better movement than any of the base roster. It's like they thought the game would be super slow when they created the base roster, and then realized they wanted to speed it up just a bit so all DLC characters move faster than the base roster characters, outside of like Kotal maybe. That's the only one I can think of right off the top of my head. No, they thought giving like Kotal's, 4-2 or Jade like a run was enough, but no, they should have gone back and upped the speed of all the base character dashes just a little bit, because Baraka and Noob are like, it's ridiculous how slow they are. Like, compared to people like Fujin and the newer characters, Melina, Rain, no, it's ridiculous how slow they are. The last thing I'll talk about before ending the video is I think flawless blocks need a rework. Flawless blocks were great at the beginning when people were a little rougher with them. I think they did their thing in terms of like gaps. So, if you flawless block, this string right here, I think that makes perfect sense. I think for gaps, flawless blocking is a great mechanic. Keep that. What I don't like is when you're negative, you get to take your turn back by flawless blocking. So you use like a -6 string like this. The opponent goes to poke you back, like hit a down one of their own. You flawless block that, flawless block up 3, you take your turn back. So by using a minus string, you got your turn back. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think that can be removed from the game. Keep micro ducking because there's a true risk reward to it. Flawless blocking, it doesn't have any risk. It just has, I guess you spend your meter, which stinks, but there's a lot of characters that don't need a whole lot of meter. So that's all the changes I would make, coming up into Mortal Kombat 12. I'm sure I could think of more, but those are big ones that people like to talk about all the time. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if there's anything you really don't want to see come back or something you really do want to see come back. I'm open to hear any and all suggestions. It's really interesting to hear. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll have a regular video out tomorrow. I'm not sure why the servers were down, and I'll see you guys in the next video.